Welcome to our Thursday night live stream.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics, and every Monday we go live on Keto Beyond the Couch because life exists beyond the couch.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way every single time we are in the midst of a hurricane, you'll be alerted to it. My gracious, praying for everybody in the pathway of Hurricane Helene.
I think it's pretty much making landfall now.
It's making landfall now, and it's a big one. It really is. So my aunt, Shirley, who's in Arcadia, we're back in Coconut Creek because Joe needed to get his dentures worked on.
Which didn't happen.
But at least it brought us back here. She was just texting me saying, like, I think there's a tornado heading over your property. All we can do is pray and really just hope for the best right now.
Yep. So, yeah, we're back over in Fort Lauderdale. There's lots of wind and rain here.
There is.
I've been watching our Ring camera at the house, and it seems it's been dark and dingy, but it really hasn't been a lot of rain, at least showing up on the Ring. I saw some wind. Like, every once in a while, the rug that we have in front of the RV flaps around and it sets off my Ring that there's motion. But I'm kind of missing being there because I feel like I'm getting nothing done here. I'm working on videos. That's I guess, a good thing.
That's a very good thing. That's an important thing. I was able to check in with the kiddos. I have missed Anthony and Caleb so much. I actually went out to dinner tonight with handsome Caleb, who just got his college degree, like the official diploma, in the mail today. So I was so glad that I was there for that, to like see that framing. And we went to Texas Roadhouse, and despite all of the weather,
Where's mine?
I'm so sorry, I ate it. But I had the prime rib, as always. I got the smallest one. I didn't get the biggest one. I got my 2 sides were both a salad, and then Caleb got their chicken Caesar salad, and he goes, and I was like, what are you doing? And he goes, no, you don't understand. And it came to the table, and I gotta tell you, I think there was an entire chicken on the top of that salad. It really was nice.
Yep. So welcome to our Thursday live stream. If you're new here, our Thursday live streams are a chance to hang out with our community. We love doing this, answering questions about keto. If you have a question, go ahead and type question and then the question, or use the super chat function, which is a little $ in the chat window. That highlights our screen, lets us know you have a question. We try to answer as many as possible, but obviously we do miss them. So we do answer questions that aren't super chats. However, that's the way you make sure that we do see it. We appreciate it because it does benefit the channel, and this is our full-time job. I saw Larry is here, said praying for everybody in the path of the hurricane.
Thank you, surely. And I mean, definitely, we've got even extended family, like, you know, your Aunt June is up in that, you know, in that Swanee area.
In the Tampa type area.
Yeah.
John said, how's Helene treating you? Any power outages? I don't know about the house.
This morning, it was flickering.
Our power went off for a split second here this morning. Here's the thing, at the house in Arcadia, I don't care if the power goes out because we're not using the power in the house. I mean, I guess we're using it to kind of charge the RV, but we're not drawing a lot out of the house. We're using my Big Beard battery system, and so worst case, if the power goes out, I have a small generator which can recharge my battery. So, you know, yes, it would affect working in the house with air conditioning. That would be about it. But I am bringing, what we do is whenever we come back here, I bring the trailer for the tractor, and we're just loading stuff up and bring it up there, and then I'll put it into the back of the storage unit. So I'm bringing my bigger generator with us, and then I'm bringing my, what else am I bringing? My Rectech griddle, my Blackstone type griddle, and then I got my smoker, and we're going to attempt to bring the chickens, which that one will be interesting.
Y'all pray for us. And we have one of our chickens.
It's in 2 neighbors over a yard, and I don't know how to get
because
it.
Like the
we're
wind.
Not supposed to have chickens, so you really can't go knock on the door.
Well, having this wind and stuff, it really like freaks the animals out, as you can imagine. You know, Tab just is staying on top of us pretty much. But yeah, the chickens were, we put them away and locked the door. We didn't let them choose where they were going to sleep tonight because I just knew they were going to be freaked out.
Most of the time they sleep on top of the chicken coop. So
not tonight.
We moved the house that's going to become their chicken coop. So I wasn't going to bring them up, but now I'm worried with, one getting out, and we're not really supposed to have 8 chickens. So you might as well just bring them with us. So when we get up there, I'll have to put some chicken wire around because we do have a lot of predators. But we have this small chicken house where part of the roof collapsed because it was like really thin plywood. It wasn't made well, but the framing of it is good. So what I'm going to do is we're going to bring that, and I'm just going to basically put a metal roof on it. It'll take me like an hour to do that. And the way we're going to transport them is we're going to lock them all in the upper room of that chicken coop.
They'll be all in one accord, basically. So I see Amber is here from Sarasota, which is a neighboring city to us, saying super windy and tons of flooding here in Sarasota. Yeah, we are really praying, honestly, to get back in. We do have to cross over the Peace River in order to.
Now I have been again looking at the Ring camera, and our property does not have any water standing. Where I put all the rock driveway and everything.
Thankful
so Shauna's here, said, "Hey guys, at your home base, hope you're doing okay."
Thank you, Shauna.
It's funny because I'm more and more considering Arcadia our home base. And this is just like a quick visit. This is where a lot of our stuff is.
This is where our children is.
This is where the children are. Easy peasy Keto.
Hey,
Keto said, hello, dear friends. See you in 2 weeks.
Cannot wait to see your beautiful face. I see Robin is here. So glad. I was just kind of texting Robin back because she's she's in the path of this. We've got a lot of Florida friends here. And I'm just glad to see you, Robin. I hope you're doing well as this thing is making landfall.
I can't believe Ketopalooza is in 2 weeks.
That's crazy talk.
And
how can that be? I just put the Christmas tree away.
This is going to be an interesting trip because we're bringing our RV. I don't even know where we're going to park the RV in Louisville. We're supposed to be staying with Chris and Miriam. But we've got to find a place in Louisville to park the RV. Even I was trying to avoid having to pay $50 a night to park it. But we're going to drive the RV up there because immediately after Ketopalooza, we need to head to Elkhart, Indiana to get some really cool, super secret upgrades. We're going to be like literally the first people to have this product from Moride. It's going to be a game-changing product for people who have travel trailers. I am super excited about it. And we're looking at the schedule. It was supposed to be done back in June.
Yeah.
And there were delays in the manufacturing and the design of it.
They weren't ready.
And so they're like, can you do it in October? And I'm like, not really. Not really. Because Anthony's getting married in November. And he's actually taking possession of his apartment in October, like October 15th. So we're going to miss the day that he gets the keys for the apartment.
That's so sad.
But it's now or wait till the spring because Elkhart, Indiana during the winter, not interested.
It's pretty cold.
It's cold and I don't want to drive through the snow. And so so we're going to go from Ketopalooza and then we got to go to Elkhart and then we'll be in Elkhart for about a week and then back home to work on the farm again.
I am with Trish. Trish says 2 weeks, Ketopalooza. I need to figure out what I'm wearing. I cannot wait to see you, Trish. And I'm right there with you. Like, what in the heck? Everything that is like fall clothes, I actually packed. It's buried in the storage unit in the backyard. I'm not going to have time to go through that. So I'm definitely like going to buy a new dress, but like what? What are we wearing? What is the color for this autumn 2024, guys? Like, how like there's usually a different color that kind of surfaces as like the color of the season, whether it's like purple or orange or green. Certainly you're very interested in this, obviously. But I'm just wondering, what's the color for the season? What are we wearing? That's the important thing.
Carolyn wants to know, did we leave the RV in Arcadia? Yeah, we did. Here's the thing. The RV actually has insurance.
Right. The poor house.
The house has no home. We have no homeowner's insurance on the house because it's not insurable in the condition that it's in. And we're still battling with the fact that they're saying that we filed a claim in 2017 and got paid. And we didn't.
We didn't.
So nobody wants to write us a policy anyway. But in the condition that the house is in, it's uninsurable because it's down to studs. So we are praying that like there's no damage or anything like that to the house because we're doing all of this work. I guess we'd have to rely on FEMA, but we're not going to go there because we're just praying a hedge of protection over it.
So,
but we left the RV over there only because like I thought about bringing it home. But we also looked at it this way, is that the storm wasn't making a direct impact in Arcadia. Arcadia, if you don't know the geography of Florida,
it's such a huge state.
South of Tampa, and it's so like they're getting wind and rain, but they didn't get the direct hit that the Panhandle is going to get. So I wasn't too worried about it, and the RV isn't in a place even where there's any chance that a tree is going to fall down on it. That's
thankful for that.
So where we have it, it's really not.
I did want to say to Trish because she was asking, is there going to be like a dressy event at Keep Losing? No, there's not. They don't have like a dress up night or like the Keto Orlando Summit, now Champions for Health. They don't have a special, dress up night for that. So you don't have to be concerned, but I still am like, I like, this is my one shot to wear some like fall outfits because apparently Florida just skips fall, goes right to like diet summer.
It's been 100 degrees.
It's just been so freaking hot that I've got to snatch my look at like the fall leaves and all of that beauty of fall while I can, because it's literally like we jump out of our bathing suit and into our Christmas sweater. That's just it.
Sherry's here, said my cousin's son is a lineman and has been deployed to work the state of Florida or other destroyed areas for a month following the hurricane. They're expecting it to be bad. Thanks for linemen.
So thankful. I saw Larry was also saying thank you. If you or your family are part of first responders, you're the linemen, you're the firefighters, the paramedics, the police, like thank you. The 911 operators, the dispatchers, the people that are driving the trucks to make sure that we get supplies back into that area, water and all of the needs, getting us back in, people that are in, with FP&L. Thank you so much for what you do. Like we don't thank you enough. But it's like as soon as you start to lose a service or you are going without something, all of a sudden you are very aware of electricity and air conditioning and paramedics and all of that stuff. So thank you so much for what you do. And we're praying for them as well and definitely wishing them and their family well, because, when a lineman like you're sharing, a lot of times they're from some other state and they have to kiss their family goodbye for the whole month while they go to where the need is. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Becca's here. Said, hey, y'all. It's been a while since I've been able to catch one of these. I miss you. We miss you too. Trish said, super secret upgrade is that a launch pad for the jetpacks they've been promising us for 50 years.
Yes, it is. We're not supposed to say that though, Trish.
Patty said, hardware cloth is much stronger than chicken wire to help with the predator issue.
Thank you, Patty.
It's something to think about. I don't know. I may put something along the floor in case of burrowing predators. Here, I just lined with bricks along the bottom. But, my biggest thing is our chickens are used to free range and doing whatever they want.
They're going to be so
now they're getting
mad.
A giant house. And so, fortunately, the old owner did leave a lot of poles and stuff. Yeah. So I'm just going to do poles around, things. But the wire that he left, the fencing, is not good for chickens because it's got holes like this.
Lots of poles.
So I'll have to go and get some
pole dancing.
Something.
Pole dancing chickens.
But I'm just going to give them a giant run. Eventually, we'll let them come out of that run, but it's going to take some time. I need them to get used to this is where I go home at night.
Right.
Because chickens will always go back and they're attracted to light. And it is pitch black where we live at night. John said, prayers for everyone in Florida from Louisiana. I hate to see anyone deal with it, but bless it's not coming this way. Parents live on the water and always super stressful the older they get.
That is so true. I completely understand that. It's like, everybody that is commonly in the trajectory of a storm is like, where is that line going? I can remember your mom, when his mom lived in Island Park, that was always, because they got Sandy really bad. But you're always looking, and you don't want to say like, oh, good, it's missing us, because it's going to someplace else. When we were, in the Caribbean for the low carb cruise, we were visiting places that you're only ever aware of because the news stations are telling you like it's, coming in through these particular islands, and you don't hear it except for during hurricane season.
Matt said, Joe, the Ender 5 is rocking and rolling with printing right now. Has been running almost nonstop for the last 4 days. That's awesome.
Way to go,
I miss
Matt.
my 3D printers.
No time for that.
I don't have time for it, but I don't have a place to put them right now.
Right.
Like, I would love to bring one of them, because I keep going, I need to 3D print something, and I don't have my 3D printers with me. I'm actually selling one of them because I have 3 and then 2 more to build, which I don't have time to build, but I'm going to sell one of them just for space. Joe is here and said,
Joe.
After your slushy video, I added allulose to my keto chow ice cream and no more heavy ice buildup on the freezer tub.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Let me tell you, Peyton loved the slushy machine.
Oh, yeah.
With the slushy electrolyte. She was like,
Juliana said, teal blue.
Oh.
Lowe's color of the year is called
Encore Blue.
It's gorgeous.
I do love blue. I really do enjoy the color blue. It's, how they used to sell like bedspreads from like JCPenney, and it would be the same exact print, and one of them would be like red, one of them would be a green, and one of them would be a blue. My mom was always drawn to the green. I was always drawn to the blue.
Paige said, hey, from East Tennessee, how much emphasis do y'all place on your ketone level, and what range do you personally consider to be a nutritional ketosis range for you? Also, what do you wear will be my first.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so ketones, we don't really check. We honestly don't.
We used to.
The only time we really check ketones if we're doing some kind of wonky challenge, if you're trying to lose weight, okay? If you're trying to lose weight, your ketone level doesn't mean much. As a matter of fact, it can be argued that a higher ketone level is actually not as good for you if you're trying to lose weight. In fact, even if you go onto the Keto Mojo website, when they talk about the GKI kind of thing, that GKI, they actually tell you want like higher numbers. There's like, if you want to be in ketosis for brain function, mental health function, that's where you need to have high ketones. But if you're looking to lose weight, you don't want to have really high ketones because of just the way you're trying to lose weight. And so the thing about nutritional ketosis is this. All that matters is don't eat carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're not eating carbohydrates and you are eating enough protein but not too much protein without fat, your body has no choice but to be fueled by fat.
You are fat fueled.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter what your ketone level is. Also, you can really manipulate those ketone numbers. You hear this thing about 0.5 means you're in nutritional ketosis. No, it doesn't. Okay, because first of all, ketosis, people confuse the terms. Ketosis is where your body is actively using ketones for fuel. That's where your body is actively using ketones for fuel. There's no way to really measure, is your body currently at this given time using ketones for fuel? You can measure, is your body currently using fat for fuel, but the only way to really do that is with a really good breath meter, which is very difficult to use. Because when you blow out, you'd be blowing out acetone if you're currently burning fat. Ketogenesis is when your body is creating ketones. So when people say like, well, I'm in ketosis. Well, ketosis means you're actively burning ketones. But throughout the day, even if you're eating 0 carbs, your body isn't always burning ketones for fuel. It needs to burn some sugar, and it creates the sugar from free fatty acids and from protein. So it doesn't really matter. So long as you're not eating carbohydrates and you're eating fat, not too much fat, but enough fat to not have your body using protein to create more and more sugar, it doesn't really matter. So my thing is you don't really need to check unless you're looking at keto for mental clarity, dealing with
Yes.
seizures, things like that, where you need to have really high ketones. And at that point, you're not doing it for weight loss. You're doing it for something completely different.
Yeah.
So
as far as what you wear, be comfortable. So it's whatever you would
it's
be.
pretty casual.
It's pretty casual.
Yep. So
bring some tennis shoes too. We normally do have a walk that we take. Make sure that you have layers. You never know how cold it's going to be. Some years it's colder than others. So just bring some layers and some comfortable shoes so that we can, walk into Indiana. We usually walk from Louisville to over the bridge into Indiana together.
So Michelle said, can they produce an actual check that you cashed? If not, no claim payout.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that I called different insurance companies, and they're all looking at this database. And in the database, it says that we filed the claim and we're paid. So when I said, no, I didn't, they said, you have to contact your insurance company, which we don't have insurance anymore on this house because they tried to raise our rate from $4,000 to $14,000, and I'm like,
we just couldn't afford it.
So we basically self-insure. I can't get the insurance company that we had to respond to give me the proof that they never paid. So we're in this situation. But as of right now, it doesn't matter because the house is uninsurable until it's done. Kathy said, according to Google, bright blue and scarlet are the fall trend.
Nice. Okay, I'm loving this lineup.
Wooly said, been rainy here in western North Carolina for 2 days. Helene is headed up here after Florida and Georgia. More rain and possible historic flooding of the French Broad River. See y'all at Keto Palooza.
I am really hoping that this thing just dissipates because nobody needs it. Florida doesn't need it. Georgia doesn't need it. North Carolina doesn't need it. Nobody needs it.
Lady Fritzer said, hey. Joe and Rachel, are you far enough from Lake Okeechobee if it gets full from rain and they have to release it? Heard some storm chasers discussing it and the bad bacteria. Yeah, Lake Okeechobee is like right smack dab in the middle of the state. We're about an hour and 20 minutes west of Lake Okeechobee. Easy Peasy Keto said, my granddaughter from Alaska is doing this college semester at Wild Kingdom. I think she means Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
I'm scared for her as we don't know about Florida weather. We do earthquakes and snow.
I will tell you that my brother is now living about 20 minutes outside of right around that area. And he actually went to Disney World today. So there was some wind and, there's rain. It's kind of, yucky everywhere here in Florida right now. But they're doing good. So
yeah, and it's funny because people ask us like hurricanes. Here's my thing about hurricanes. At least they're coming far in advance.
Yes.
Like I think about
a tornado,
if you're dealing with
earthquake.
If you're in Tornado Alley, yes, we kind of know the weather that will cause them, but it's still like you don't know. Earthquakes, there's no real warning. I mean, so there's some areas I don't want to deal with 10 feet of snow. Like when we were in Alaska and the one guy was talking about how we can have 50 feet of snow. And I'm like, yeah, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
Matt said, when I was a 911 dispatcher, I had to leave Sarah, Joy, and the girls for 10 to 14 days at a time. God bless the first responders.
Absolutely.
Robin wants to know, how long do you anticipate taking to renovate the house?
How long you got?
I don't know. I honestly thought we would be further along after a month, but we just, this is what happens when you demolish a house. You don't know what is behind a wall.
Right.
You don't know what's behind a wall.
We've had to do a lot of side quests.
We weren't expecting to have to put the rock down. That took me a few days. Then we do get distracted pretty easily when we go outside and we're like, hey, I want to be able to see the pond, so let's spend a few hours pulling down trees. And it all needs to be done. We weren't expecting thousands upon thousands of staples that had to be pulled out.
That was just inappropriate.
We knew that there were going to be a couple of areas of where the floor was soft that I would have to replace wood, which is what we're working on now. But there's just been little things. I think the hardest part is past us. So I have cut up the floor in the guest bathroom, and I began before we came home cutting up the floor in our bathroom. I have now rerun all new plumbing through the whole house. That was something that I was not planning on doing, but I think needed to be done because the hose spigot in the front wasn't working, and when I cut the hose spigot, it was filled with black gunk in the piping.
In the pipe.
And then when we had our filtration and softener system put in, even after it was put in, I'm like, why does the water still taste funny?
It smelled like egg pudding.
And so he came back out, he tested, he's like, there's no sulfur present. We went out to the well, tested it, but then he came into the RV and he tested and he was like, it's in the lines. It's in the lines. And so he said, one thing we can do is, somebody actually posted about this, putting bleach in your well. The better solution is actually hydrogen peroxide. So what you do is you pour hydrogen peroxide in the line and then you let it sit there for like a day and that just gets everything out. But then you got to blow it out through your hose spigot. So I decided to replumb the whole house. It was old type of plumbing anyway, polybutyrene pipe. So I'm using PEX pipe. I redid it myself. A plumber wanted like $4,500.
We ain't got that.
I bought a tool to use the best PEX piping you can, which cost me $400, and the entire installation, including putting in a manifold system, is costing me less than $900 to do myself. But that took me 2 days. So it's little things, but now that that's all gone, now we're once we get the we're putting a new hot water heater in. That's what we're doing as soon as we get home. As waiting for parts. So once we get that done, it's start putting down floor, putting up sheetrock. So I'm hoping the house is livable by November. It's just that we do have Keto Palooza. We have Anthony's wedding.
Heather, she goes, I told you about the staples. She actually said, I just want you to know.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather. Going into this, she goes, I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to make no sense. So when you come to that moment when you're like, this makes no sense, then you're going to remember, I told you this does not make any sense.
It's things like the studs are built on top of sheetrock. And so we were dealing with that and just manhandling stuff, and halfway, 3/4 away, and I'm like, why am I not using a multi-tool and just zipping down and instead of trying to rip it out by hand? And that made things easier. So the hardest part is really over. Now it's just a matter of doing it. Our goal is, no matter what, this house goes up for sale in November. So if you're interested in a house in Fort Lauderdale, let us know. And
it's been prayed through.
I keep saying this. Rachel's like, please stop saying that, but I'm going to say it anyway. If my mom was able to live in a house with no stove,
this is not the goal.
Not even running water for 4 years in her 80s, so long as we have at least one running bathroom, a sort of kitchen, which we can even use the RV, and a bedroom, I can live around finishing the rest of the house.
I appreciate what you're saying. I appreciate the spirit of it. I have great-great-grandparents who traveled here in a covered wagon, but you know what? We're going to take an air-conditioned truck back up to the property. Why? Because we want to progress. We want to learn from our elders and not do the same thing if we can avoid it, right?
Sandra said, I'm amazed at what you have accomplished. I am too. I mean, I keep looking at the house going, there's so much work left, but then I have to remember where it started.
Well, and I'm very excited. Like, we are on our feet, lifting and pulling and dragging 12 hours, 14 hours a day. When we were carrying, and everything has to go up the stairs because there's like stairs that go up into, like it's up on a hill thing. And so we're me and him carrying in that hot water heater alone. I mean, forget the other, there's a gajillion things that we've carried, but we were lifting it and carrying that thing in, and I thought, I cannot believe that we can do what we can do now. Yeah. This is keto. This is absolutely the way that we took back our health, what we're eating, what we're putting into our body daily, and continuing to put into our body for now, like going on 7-8 years, and then deciding we better start moving, we better start lifting heavy things. We had no idea that this house was coming. Right. We didn't know. I just felt like we needed to start really like leveraging strength training and, just working on building up strength. And that's all I do all day sometimes is just carry heavy things around.
One of the things that delays us a lot too is, you expect the unexpected. Well, you start doing something And then you're like, well, I wasn't expecting that. Now I got to go back to Home Depot. But Home Depot is 35 minutes from the house.
Yeah.
And so, like, now I got to stop everything and go to Home Depot. Well, that's an hour and a half between going there and doing the shopping and then coming back. And shout out to Port Charlotte Home Depot.
You have our hearts, y'all.
Because, like, here's the thing.
The customer service there.
Their customer service in the Port Charlotte Home Depot is amazing.
Amazing.
For example, I decided to use PEX A piping. I went over, I needed to get a couple things. I needed some extra piping and some other things, some fittings, because we decided we were going to do the hot water heater. And originally I wanted an instant hot water heater powered by electric, because gas, you'd have to build it outside, and everyone's telling me it's hard to get gas, like propane, where we are in big deliveries. And John Paul said, and here's a warning for all of you, do not put an electric instant hot water heater in your house. Our son John Paul is a master electrician. He came over to the pub, he's like, do not do it. When you do it, it draws so much electricity that all of your lights flicker. And I was like, baloney. Like, you know, it's like the dad, it's like, I know he's a master electrician, but I still feel like I need to know more than him. So I start Googling it, and he's like, if you want to do it, I'll help you. And I start Googling it, and it's a thing that an electric instant hot water heater, because it draws 150 amps of electricity, will cause all of your lights to flicker.
That'll be some nice hot water.
And so we went with a hybrid system. Well, I go over to the Port Charlotte one, and I start buying stuff, and the guy goes, we don't sell PEX A, we only sell PEX B, because PEX A, you need a special tool. And I'm like, I know, but the Sarasota one has it, we don't carry it. So I go home, and I'm gonna order it at Sarasota, and it says Port Charlotte has it. So I order it in Port Charlotte, I go back over at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the manager says, I am so sorry he told you that. I'm going to take $50 off your order.
We're like, what? We were just happy that you had it in stock.
And then we were buying something else, and it took them too long. And they're like, we're going to take 10% off your whole order. It was an $1,800 order. They took 10% off.
I was like, bless you. Like, this
so
is...
shout out to Port Charlotte Home Depot.
Meanwhile, okay, can you say that you came back today? We came back to where we normally shop. Very different experience.
I needed to get something at Lowe's.
Yes.
Because nobody by us has it in stock. So I go in and I'm like, you guys have it, but you're charging, it's $6 more than Home Depot. I want to price match it. The lady's like, we don't price match. I'm like, yes, you do.
Remember?
And I'm like, it's $6 more here than it is in Home Depot. She's like, for God's sake, it's only $6. And I'm like, well, I want to price match. Oh, I'm not doing that. Go to customer service. I'm like, I want to go back home.
Customer service makes a difference. You know how I know? Because Keto Chow. If you have dealt with any company, if you have ordered something and then you order something from Keto Chow, the customer service, like, it blows you away, right? It's crazy. And when it's been a while since you've had really nice customer service, because I feel like I can remember my grandparents, going with my grandparents on errands, and it felt like customer service was something a lot of people, held dear. And then all of a sudden you just lose access to good customer service. So when you come in contact with it again, like when you're dealing with the folks over at Keto Chow, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever.
Okay, I see some cool questions here. Okay, so Joe said,
hey, Joe,
thankful to catch a live while getting in some time on my walking pad.
Nice.
Definitely working to be more intentional about movement.
So proud about you.
Sean said, I saw a meme today that made me think of your chicken. Chicken outside the cage was bragging about being free range. The chicken in the cage was bragging about being in a
gated community. Oh, I love it.
Aaron's here, said, hey, Joe and Rachel, watching from Planet Fitness.
Hello.
Gone to the gym 4 of the last 7 days.
4 of the last 7 days? I'm so freaking proud of you. You are amazing, young man.
Okay, so Lady Francis said, predators can't burrow if you attach and stake down to the ground a 2-foot wide band of wire outside fence that runs so they can dig inside without hurting their feet. Yeah, I won't put anything on the floor. Like that was the problem with some of the mobile coops I've seen. They all have flooring, and I told Rachel they need to be able to dig and burrow.
Right.
So that's what we have here. Is I have about a foot of brick that goes outside and then staked down so that things can't dig underneath. I actually was driving to Home Depot the other morning and saw a black panther. That was
Black
so
panther.
cool to see a black panther on the street.
Wakanda forever.
Dog, how do you stay motivated to stay on keto?
We can still we can do all these things.
I'm going to quote my friend Steve from Keto Chow. Pain is a powerful motivator.
Yeah.
For me, to not be in pain. Now, you will see me when I'm on my feet all day long, especially when we go to conferences like Keto Palooza, or when we went to Alaska. My ankle will stiffen. However, it doesn't hurt. I may struggle walking sometimes because it stiffens. If you don't know, I have several pins in my ankle. I was in a wheelchair prior to starting keto. I was told at this point, you need to fuse or get an ankle replacement surgery. I refused both, and I was on basically painkillers and arthritis medication for 25 years, and I don't take any of that anymore. So I look at where I was, and for me now, I'm like, well, I don't want to go back to that, so stay keto. Also, keto's delicious. I don't miss bread. I don't miss sugar. And if you want to treat, there are so many keto options, whether you buy them or make them.
So for me, mental illness was something that I struggled with, in addition to being over 300 pounds when we started this journey. So what I can do in my body is amazing, and also how I feel. I think about the schedule that we've had this year, all of the things, the places that we've had the blessing to go, and the people we've gotten to meet, and the things that we've gotten to participate in. But it's been a lot this year. We have a child getting married, and we have grandkids, and we've been, we're on a reality show, and we do public speaking. This was not something that was possible 10 years ago for me. It was not possible. I was trapped inside of myself and struggled with mental illness for decades. So the fact that I am alive and I am living my best life, and the schedule alone doesn't make me just run back into my bedroom, get underneath the covers, and say life is overwhelming. I feel like there's just so much opened up. As far as taste and texture, I actually put up some reels right before we came on, talking about different common food textures that there are that people really find appealing, whether it is crunchy or it's brittle or it's smooth, juicy. There's lots of different textures, and people a lot of times they get kind of tunnel vision and they think to themselves, if I go keto, it's gonna be a one note. I'm looking for different textures, and I think that I'm going to be missing out if I'm on keto. And I hoped that I helped to kind of show that even flaky and tender and juicy, there's all of these different flavors. We can still enjoy all of those things on keto. So I don't feel like I am missing out when it comes to a certain food texture that I enjoy. So check out those reels on Instagram. I take them one by one. I tell you how you can try to promote whatever texture you're looking for when it comes to cooking your food. And then also some of our favorite things that we eat that kind of fit into that classification.
So Chris said, I've been here from the beginning, but I was driving. Howdy, everybody.
Hello.
He also said, we have an instant electric hot water heater. It has 440 amp lines, usually doesn't use more than 3 at a time. Our lights don't dim, but those connections are right next to the main service disconnect. Yeah, now that is the other. Now John said you can go out and you have to basically run all new lines into the house. And so when we figured out the cost of all that, it just wasn't. I mean, copper wire is expensive to run all new lines into the house and everything. And so we have a hybrid hot water heater here, and it works really, really well. It's significantly cheaper to run because basically what it is there's an air conditioner built over your hot water heater, and then the coils that actually wrap around the inside of the tank, and that's what heats it up. The cool thing is it sucks the hot air in from where it is and then blows out cold air, so it acts as an extra air conditioner in your house. And we have it in the garage. Like, even Rachel's mom was like, your garage is cool. Like, right. It's very cool compared to outside. So it costs a little bit more money, but I know in the long run it'll work. So John wants to know, how do you know when you eat too much protein? That's a great question.
That is a great question.
There's no specific number for everybody. Everybody wants a magic number.
But it's not a one size fits all.
It's a trial and error. So Robert Sykes, Keto Savage, talks about finding your protein threshold. It's about trial and error. You start off with high fat, very high fat, like 75 to 80% of your calories are coming from fat. And then you slowly add a little bit of protein until you find that threshold. A good way to know is by watching your glucose. So if you're experiencing a thing where you are eating strict keto, like you are eating less than 20 total carbohydrates a day, you're not eating a bunch of packaged foods, you're eating mostly meat, maybe a little bit of vegetables, you're staying away from the starches and the pastas and the grains and all that stuff, and you're still experiencing higher glucose, check your protein level. If you're not, it's not about eating too much protein, it's about not eating enough fat with the protein. So if you're eating anything less than 1 gram of protein to 1 gram of fat, and probably you need a little bit more than 1 gram of fat to 1 gram of protein, but if you're eating anything less, you're probably not eating enough fat. Because what happens is if you're giving your body a lot of protein, but not enough fat, which is what it wants to use for the fuel, your body will use the protein to create glucose. Gluconeogenesis is not a supply-driven thing. In other words, your body doesn't go, hey, I've got all this protein, so let me turn it into sugar. It doesn't want to do that because it's highly inefficient. It wants to use fat for fuel. It wants to use the fatty acids for fuel. But your body will look at it like, well, I don't have enough fat, so I'll create the fuel with protein. But if you're giving yourself enough fat, then your body won't do that. And yes, we have fat on our body, but if you're not eating enough, your body's gonna be like, well, I don't want to use what I have in reserves because how long is that gonna last me? So yeah, it's like your phone. So I thought of this analogy. Most phones now have a low power mode, right? So when you get below 20%, unless you turn off this feature, like on an iPhone, if you get below 20%, low power mode kicks on. What does that do? It starts turning off features on your phone that you don't necessarily need to use it. So like it won't check your email all the time. It will turn off things for the internet because it's trying to reserve that power that it has left. Same thing with your body.
I've got the power.
If you don't consume enough food, your body will start slowing things down because it doesn't want to use the little bit of fuel that you have on your body. So the only way to know protein is, are you consuming too much protein and not enough fat, is glucose and just testing yourself. Trish said, I'll be drawing during the walk, and anyone else who can't walk, you're welcome to join me, and I'll be happy to teach you some Zentangle drawing.
Wow, how cool is that?
Miriam said the cool thing about the walk at Ketopalooza is there are different skill level walks planned, so everybody can participate.
Yeah, that's really a nice thing. And then also, some people are stationed at different points along the walk. So some people just are at like that position to be an encourager, to cheer people as they like go, through the different walks. So I just think that that's so cool.
James said the walk last year was
it was frozen. Yeah, it was really cold.
John said California is the worst. They have the hat trick: floods, fires, and earthquakes. Yeah,
that's a lot.
Marianne said, so sad. I have to miss Ketopalooza this year. I lost a dear friend of 35 years and need to attend his memorial. I'll miss seeing y'all.
Oh, Marianne, we understand. I'm so sorry for your loss.
I read that one. Trish said, hey, talk about living off the couch. Hubby Bob passed all 3 levels of ham radio licensing testing yesterday. Keto win for brain clarity.
That is
he needs to get with Vern.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Who's like one of the highest levels.
Yes. You may even know him. Like, that is awesome. Well, congratulations, Bob. That's wonderful.
Wooly said building phase will go much faster than deconstruction. Now taping, mudding, sanding, and painting drywall is a whole nother thing. And
Thank you.
I know. I'm not looking forward to the taping because I'm not great at it. I did meet somebody at the finale rally for RV Unplugged who lives about a half hour away who offered to come help. So I'm willing. If you're in the Central Florida area and you're good at that, please come help. Because I am not. That is not my forte. I can do it, but where most people can do it in 2 coats, it'll take me like 5 coats. Patty said your to-do list makes my list look like chopped liver, and I thought my list was stupid long.
Well, I mean, we all have different, seasons of life. I never would have anticipated what 2024 was going to look like. I really didn't anticipate it, but I'm really thankful for the stamina to get through this year, and I'm excited. One of the reasons why I really want to finish this place is because I want to start having meetups, right? I want to start having retreats that we can have and just really start serving people and having enough room for everybody to come.
John said around here they don't do mudding and taping on drywall to save time. They use textured paint. The other thing they do, and believe me, I thought about it, but I hate the look of it, is and that's what they do in manufactured homes, is they use batten strips. So every place. What is that? Well, those strips that were down, so you would have the thing on the ceiling. So that
Would you have 100 of them?
So no, remember when you were taking it down and there was a strip going down and that was glued on?
Right.
Those batten strips were hiding the seam, so they don't tape it.
Oh.
They just put that over every seam. That's what's going along the whole ceiling. But it looks horrible. It looks cheap, and that's what's in the RV too, that tape that goes down each panel.
So you want it to look different.
I want it to look good. Karen said, I grew up with constant remodeling. My parents took a 900 square foot 3-bedroom cottage and turned it into a 2,400 square foot 4-bedroom house. My dad worked on it 7 days a week.
Oh my
That's
gracious.
kind of like how I grew up. We were always remodeling our house, and we would finish the whole house. My mom 3 years later, time to start over because it's out of date.
Not me, babe. My dad couldn't change a doorknob. My mom was the one that did any type of basic home repairs. My grandfather was a plasterer. My uncle, her brother, was a carpenter. But as far as my dad was concerned, no, we just allowed things to fall down around us because he just didn't have that expertise. I remember one time he called Joe. He was needing a plumber. He's really
I need
worried.
to call a plumber. Do you know a plumber? I'm like, what's wrong? He was like, I hear water running. So I go over to the house. The hose was on.
That's handyman dad right there. He was a great businessman.
He was.
I mean, at least I think that I admire him for that, right?
John said, I moved last weekend and I'm still unpacking. When I'm not working, I'm exhausted.
Right?
I couldn't imagine having to renovate. You rock.
Thank you, John. Oh my goodness. So my brother and my sister-in-law moved as well, and so she works with kids and stuff, and so things got closed down because of the impending hurricane. So she was going to be home this morning, and Helpy Helperman, my brother, she sent a video of he basically just two of those boxes that just needs to get unpacked. He just started he just took it all out and laid it out. So the kitchen was clean, and then he came to hey, we can put this stuff away today, and it was because that's the hard part, is putting things away without going crazy. Packing things up without going crazy is difficult. And then also putting, not biting off too much more than you can chew when it comes to putting things away in a new house, right? Otherwise, you're just surrounded by clutter.
Sean said there's always additional trips to the hardware store. You think you have thought of everything,
right.
But then there's something unexpected. The other day, we 3 times in one day?
Well, and I try to be patient. There's a part of me that's is there any way that we can...
You just don't know what...
Get ahead of this? Can I make a list? I'm asking.
I go with a list and then buy extra.
I'm coming at this issue because I'm thinking I can solve the problem, be more efficient. But excuse me, the fact of the matter is, we get home and he's able to open up into the next issue, which is waiting for him with not the right
So
stuff.
I'm pulling up the floor. What I was not expecting is the subfloor is stapled down. It's not screwed down. I'm looking for screws. It's not. It's stapled down, but not the staples that are in the drywall. These staples are about this long and about this wide, and I can't even use my reciprocating saw or my oscillating tool to cut through it. You have to manhandle them to the point where you can just get just that part, and then I'm using a grinder to grind the staples out. It's like insane.
I think the funnest part is when we find that, like, the way that this gentleman fixed things before that had the house, he opens up the floor and it's completely insulated with t-shirts and plastic bags.
Yep.
That's the insulation.
But it's like, so I started working on the plumbing, and then I was like, well, I'm going to redo the feed into the house from the well. And then all of a sudden I come across like a valve that I've never, ever seen. Like, I had to bring it to Home Depot.
What is this?
Years ago, when Home Depot first opened, like, to work there, you had to be an expert. Like, if you worked in plumbing, you were a plumber. If you worked in electrician in electrical, you were an electrician. That they hired people from it. Not anymore. It took 5 different people to figure out what this thing was.
What is this?
It was
I forgot
what it was.
rod.
All I know is it cost me $100.
What is it? What is it?
It was a dual two.
It's a dodo bird?
It was like a 2-way regulator thing. And so, but again, it was just something not expecting to, and so just sometimes that's just what happens.
That's what happens.
Luann said,
hi, Luann.
Lynn Purdue lived on property with just a truck camper at one time until they got the basement of their house livable.
Oh my gosh.
John said, around here, they don't do mudding on taping drywall. They save time. Oh, we read that one. Michelle said, Keto Child customer service is amazing.
So true, right?
I was just communicating with someone there today. Great experience.
It's so good, you note it.
Yep.
Like, you interact with people, and if it's not a bad experience, it just kind of washes over you, like, okay, and on to the next thing. But when you come across, like, really good customer service, you're stopped in your tracks, because it's just like, it's so refreshing. It literally refreshes your day. It's a public service.
Matt said, I've come up with a physical challenge for October.
Okay.
Every time Rachel says balls, I have to do 10 push-ups.
Okay. No, Matt, I'm afraid. Oh my gosh, I don't want to, like. Oh, I have to say it. So I don't want to make him.
You want to make those Christmas?
I don't want to do a whole bunch of, make him do a bunch of
Ginger
things.
said, we caught an opossum. It was a little late. He did get one of our chickens.
Oh.
I assure you, he'll not get another.
He will
That's
not.
what we have lost our chickens to in the past.
Same. And you know what? I know that I saved the life of the stinking possum that ate one of my chickens, because it was a baby and it had fallen in the pool and it was mean as a snake. And I fished that sucker out and I rehomed him, like, across the street into, like, the golf course woodland area there, because I just couldn't kill a baby. He was just a little possum.
So
he about took my hand off too.
So a couple of weeks ago, Anthony
And he
texted
came
me.
back when he got older and ate my chicken.
Anthony's taking over the landscaping business. He officially takes it over next month. So he texts me that there's a dead opossum on this lawn that he's cutting. What do I do? And I'm like, get a shovel and go move it and throw it out. And I'm like, or I would just run it over if you want, right? And so he texts me back, fine, I will do that. But if this thing is playing dead, I promise you it will be dead when I'm done with it.
Because you don't know. That's the whole thing about them. They play possum. I loved what Shauna said. She said, I may have once in a frustrated moment told a CSR once from somewhere, you are not Keto Child trained. And I can tell. Right? Seriously.
Paige said, I hope Keto Child customer service is sympathetic to how excited I got when I saw gingerbread and then the tears shed when I realized it was unavailable.
It altered my blood pressure. I love that. It altered my blood pressure. That's been, but you know what? I get like that too. If you've got your heart set on something and then, and then it's just not there, it does. You feel so sad.
Sean said he went behind the false wall and crawled into a hole in our drain in our sink. I must have missed.
Man.
I'm looking.
Was that a stinking possum?
Chris said, I'm enjoying watching Joe with my comment on the screen as Rachel monologues.
Hey, Hey, you caught me monologuing.
Oh, okay. So Sean said, beginning of the summer, we had no idea how it got in there. He crawled back behind our sink and haven't gotten him since. You
should have seen Shell scream when she saw it. There's no way.
I'm trying to see. I must have missed it was.
It was a possum. We had a possum in our bathroom at the beginning of the summer. Like, and I'm like you. How do they get in these places? How do they get behind the wall when the spaces are so stinking tiny?
I came into the RV the other night and I'm like, hey, Rachel, don't go outside. She's like, why? I'm like, you got a friend waiting over the door going into the house because we have tree frogs everywhere.
Everywhere.
And they come out at night. Literally, she called me. I had gone to Home Depot and she called me. She's like, I want a cup of coffee, but I can't get one. I'm like, why? And she's like, there's a tree frog stuck on the wall where the coffee is stored. But if you don't know,
in the RV,
she's afraid of frogs.
Definitely.
I'm like, you moved to the country, baby. You're going to have to get over the fear of frogs.
I'm doing really well.
You are doing very well.
You know what's wild? There are no iguanas where we live. We're back to regular sized lizards. The iguana thing I guess they haven't traveled to that part of Florida yet. So I'm just going to enjoy our stay while they're staying in more South Florida.
Jamie said, I love my propane hot water heater, but 15 kilos of propane is only $3.25 here. It's subsidized,
cheap.
hottest water. I miss gas. I'm my old house.
He used
when
to
I
have
first
terrible
met Rachel,
gas. Before keto, terrible gas.
I had a gas hot water heater. I loved it. I miss cooking on gas stoves. I miss a gas dryer. But for us, we'd have to have a tank put in. And then when I started looking at the cost of, okay, it's $115 a year to rent the tank, then you have the cost of the propane, but then it's like a $300 site survey, then I have to have a plumber run all the gas lines. I was like, no.
I'm glad, Kat, I'm not by myself. She can't stand frogs either.
Chris said, also, as Joe mentioned, it may have been missed, gluconeogenesis, making glucose, can be produced by fat as well as protein.
Power.
Do not fear protein.
Do not fear the protein.
Paige said, if I could find the keto version texture of a circus peanut, my life would be complete.
Okay, I think I have an idea that comes pretty close. I feel like it's in the realm. If you've ever made our Keto Chow cereal, the little bites of cereal, if instead of baking it, you put it in the refrigerator or the freezer, right? Remember we would like cool it down first? It gets like a weird, chewy, like a circus peanut page. Like since you were talking about Keto Chow earlier. So if you ever try to make that, we have a video out about making that cereal. It tastes delicious even before you bake it. But if you put it into the like freezer and let it like harden up a little bit, it does get like that chewy kind of circus, because I love circus peanuts. That was my jam.
Okay, a couple more before we get off. Donna Joe said,
Hey,
one of my cat's names is Possum. She looked like a baby Australian possum when she was a kitten, and yes, they look different than the U.S. opossum.
Well, because your cat Possum is adorable.
Totally
Sean adorable.
Said, how long does the walk typically last? We want to do the walk, but we have a 7-hour drive and have to work on Monday. Is the walk on Sunday or Saturday?
Usually it's not the same day as we leave.
No, it's usually Saturday.
It's usually Saturday. Maybe not. No. Because Saturday is all day speakers. And then Sunday is the walk and breakfast. Yeah, you're right, Sean.
Okay.
We usually start kind of early in the morning. I want to say it takes like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's what is it, a 3K? Or is it a 5K?
I think she does like a 1K, a 2K. She does like a 1 mile, a 2 mile, and a 5 mile usually.
Sherry said, I'm a cheerleader at the First Station, aka Short Cut Crew. Look me up. This is my 3rd year cheering all the lovely rappers.
I can't wait to see Sherry again.
Kim said, I really love you too. You have been an inspiration to me. I started keto years ago, but couldn't seem to stick to it. I want to get off of medication. Pray for me, please.
Absolutely, we will. I was just talking to my mom this afternoon before we went to dinner, and she was sharing how she has 2 medications that she's left on, and they're both for her eyes because she's had like cataract surgery and that sort of thing. And so she needs eye drops. So that's like her last thing that she pays for. And, she's on Social Security. She's a senior, and for a long time, it's been $13 for those 2 medications, like $13. She used like GoodRx. And she said, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just in this last week, the medication went up to $47. And so she said, it's annoying because I'm like, well, nothing has changed. That not a different provider, nothing. The insurance is still the same. Like, how did it jump that high from like $13 to $47? And I have to have these eye drops. Like, it's not negotiable, right? And she was like, what if I was still back before keto, Rachel? When I was on more than 18, 20 medications, and the cost of all that, because it's not just what they do to our body, and it's not just having to be reliant on them, but the cash folded money that all of it cost. And she was like, what if everything I was on tripled like that in an instant? Would I be able to pay for other bills? Like, that's a real concern. So when we talk about all of the ways that keto has blessed our life, it's like you have to almost get out a notepad and take a list, right? Because it's not just the weight loss, and it's not just the mobility, and it's not just the brain function. It's just so many things. And it was another reminder today, because she's like, wow, that would have really impacted my life.
Okay, we're going to get off. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited that we made it through it with the internet, because Rachel was talking about, like, should we do a live stream because, like, storm, wind, internet, who knows. But we got through it. We will be back live on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for Keto Beyond the Couch. If you didn't see it today, we did do a Keto Crate unboxing, and we're giving one of those away.
Get in on that.
Watch, that video. We have our Alaska vlog coming out as soon as Rachel previews that.
I shall do that.
We have some updates on the property coming out, so lots of cool things. I was able to get some things done, and then tomorrow morning we're heading back up to the property to get back to work.
But prayers for everybody in the hurricane path tonight.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you all live on Monday.
We love you.
Bye.